Inverbervie did just that. And this is just a bit of the valuable record of their efforts. To talk about it and to introduce it to us is Willie Beattie. Willie, tell me, if you would, when this started. When did you set about trying to restore Inverbervie Kirk?
Well, the start was about 1956. And the church was, the outside of the church was done first. They raised the money and brought the outside up to date first. And then they carried on the fundraising. And the entire inside of the church was stripped out and refurbished.
How did they raise the money? What did they do?
Well, they did all sorts of things. You'll see on the film they had jumble sales in the hall, in the market square. They had barn dances. They had all sorts of anything that would raise a shilling. You know, they would go ahead. And
did the people of Inverbervie have their arms twisted to do this? Or did they do it quite well?
No, not at all. Bervie is a great giving community. Anybody that needs to raise funds for anything, they've only got to make a start, and if the cause is right, the folk of Bervie will back it up. Right,
let's look at the pictures and tell us what we're looking at, if you would, Willie.
Well, that's the front of the Bervie Parish Kirk, and that's the committee, the fundraising committee, the restoration committee. That's the convener and the vice convener, Bert Cowie and Charlie Reid, and they're coming around to see the rest of the committee. The fellow on the left there is Sandy Cooper. It was actually he who took the most of this film. And here is some of Sandy's film, one of the open-air jumbles sales down in the market square. They gathered everything in the kirk hall the night before, and in the morning they set up the stalls, brought everything up to the square and set about selling it. There's Mr. Nicholson, the minister. They all had to muck in, and there's David Lyle, who was one of the committee members.
Checking that the teapot's
not
cracked.
Aye, and making sure that everything's good.
This is one of the things that doesn't change. People still love a jumble sale.
They still love a jumble sale. That's Eric Lang, the banker, sitting chatting to Mrs. Matheson. Eric looked after every fund, I think it was in Bervie. The banker was the man that looked after it. You see how they've got the stalls well cleared. They always seem to manage to sell everything. And there's Eric with a bag. There, the first jumble sale, I think, raised somewhere in the region of about £130. And here we have one of the church fetes that they had, and that is Mrs. Nicholson, the minister's wife. She's introducing Granny Grove, who opened that one, the Grove family, a well-Kent programme.
Old television series, yes.
And Granny Grove opened that particular fete. There's the provost, that was my father, and there's the wee lass presenting the flowers is my niece, Margaret Cooper. That's Sandy's daughter.
You always had a well-known personality to open the fete?
Yes, we tried to keep somebody that would draw the crowd, used to be the saying, you see. That's in the school playground. That's where they always held these fetes. It was a nice cul-de-sac kind of place to keep everything right. And there's the ladies are always the ones that man the stalls and make the money, you'll notice.
The men are in the beer tent.
Well, being a kirk affair, there was never a beer tent at that particular thing. But the men were right there when the heavier work had to be done, you know. There's the fruit and veg getting sorted out there.
Plenty of people turning up.
They always got a crowd. Everybody come round to support. That's the convener's wife, Mrs. Cowie. And they came just the same as the Port Elphisons and thing. They come from far and near. That was one of the times when it rained, but that didn't matter. And this is a poster showing the barn dances. They were always held out at Silly Flat. And here we have Davy Shaw opening at one of the fetes.
Oh, Davy Shaw, the former manager of Aberdeen Football Club.
He was manager of Aberdeen Football Club.
That would place it in the mid-50s then?
Yes. Well, the first was about 1956, and then they carried on. The church was eventually restored in 1965. There's Charlie Reid operating and Eric Lang in the shooting stall. That was always popular. Always a busy stall, that one. And always hit the bob down in case they got shot, of course. This is the bowling. Nothing like a bowling green, but they still like to roll the balls up and try their luck. And that's the guess the way to the pig. Now that's Jim Stewart. If there's a Wheel of Fortune going, Jim Stewart operated it. And he had that tartan suit specially made to operate with. And what a character he was. Just a lad to have that job. There's the workers gathering to be recorded. Get them on film. This is a shot of the last train in Inverbervie. That was the last passenger train. They decided to close the line. And that lady there, she decided that we should have one more passenger train up the line, and she hired the train, and hopefully she got enough from the proceeds to pay for it.
Certainly looks as though it was well attended.
Yes, there was a big amount of people there that day.
Again, Willie, another lovely record of a local community working hard. 30 years ago.
Yes.
What are they doing now? How are they directing their energies?
Well, they've just recently reformed a committee again, and we're calling this one the Facelift 95, because we feel that 30 years on, there'll be time in 95 to redecorate again.
The same kirk?
Same kirk.
Being well looked after?
Yes, we do our best to keep it right.
Now, is there going to be anything in a few years' time, do you think, that will be the equivalent of the last train through Inverbervie, do you think? What's going to disappear now that disappeared then in the 60s? Can you think of anything offhand?
That's a fairly difficult one. I don't know.
I hope it's not the last chip shop.
Well, no, the Bervie Chipper, it's one of the famous places.
Aye, it is indeed.
You enjoy a chip fish supper there, do you?
Absolutely,
aye.
Absolutely. And are the people of Bervie as willing to take part now as they were back then in the 50s and the 60s?
Yes, I think again, I would say again, if you give them a worthwhile cause, they'll turn out and they'll do what's necessary. They still have gala days and things like that at the
Because there's a lot more distractions now, aren't there?
Yes, there are, but on the other hand, there's lots of things that are starting up from here and there, just different activities, and just an instance, they've recently got the dancing, the tea dances going, things like that. That's been started with people that have come into Bervie, and they're getting their own thing going.
More power to their elbow.
Absolutely.
Thank you very much indeed. Well, this week's competition is about the year 1949. As usual, 2 questions related to that year and 2 copies of this